Yeah. You gotta work. You gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down.
Welcome to Let's Talk with Carl Lee and frequent guest hosts Hollis Lewis and Lisa Odie, where sports, culture, and community intersect. Join the crew as they dive into engaging conversations with guests from all walks of the sports life. Let's Talk is proudly presented by attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real results. FrankWalkerLaw.com and by the all-new historic Hoyer Diner in downtown Charleston. One line.
Hello. And Lisa Odie.
Hello.
We have a unique kind of a show today. We're going to have Todd Scott, who went to the University of Louisiana. He was a 6th-round draft pick for the Vikings in 1991. His first Pro Bowl was in 1992. T. Scott played 7 years in the NFL from 1991 to 97. He also played for the Jets, Tampa Bay, Kansas City Chiefs. We're also going to have the other corner that played on the other side of me, Audrey McMillan. Went to the University of Houston, was drafted in the 3rd round by the New England Patriots. He played 8 seasons in the NFL, 1985 to 1993, was a Pro Bowl selection in 92. Led the league in interceptions in 92 with eight interceptions. He also played for the Houston Oilers. Vincey Glenn went to the University of Indiana, was a New England Patriots 2nd-round pick, and he was the 54th pick overall. To me, that's a huge deal, man. Because I think I was 100 and something. So he was in the 1986 draft. He finished his career with 54 interceptions. And a bunch of those he'll claim that were with the Vikings. Now, I don't know if that's true or not.
Shall set you free.
It will. It really will. He played for the Patriots and the San Diego Chargers in his rookie season and would go on to play for the New Orleans Saints, Vikings, and New York Giants, where he completed his career. Now, I don't know if we have them all on yet, but we'll be getting them. Hollis, you know, and Lisa, I'm sure you're aware of the types of bonds that you build when you play with guys. Some guys, you can play a year with them and you can grab this bond that is just so crazy. This group of guys, and again, I can't help but call them by their nicknames because I can't give them the full that full respect. I guess if they want that, they need to go somewhere else. But like watching these guys come in and playing with them and just the way we would talk to each other on the field versus off the field in the locker room, it was crazy. But what you also have is you have 4 guys who are all different personalities completely. Todd Scott and Audrey McMillan are 2, I think I would call them 2 really business type guys.
Sure. That
left the league and really became more so focused on business and things like that. Not saying that Vincey didn't or I didn't, but me and Vincey are kind of the wild spirits of the group. And it was interesting to see how we all kind of played together. So do I have some guys out there? Is Mac out there? That's the guy I haven't talked to in a long time. Where's Mac at?
Hey, Coach, all I need to know is who's on the line. Because at the end of the day, I'm probably the last one called. If this is here and Todd here, I'm going to have a problem with that, T. I am, man. Come on, Celia. I'm always, when he ain't got nobody else called McMillan. When everybody that went to all the appointments, then called McMillan. Because he'll fill in. I'm here, fellas. How can I help you all this afternoon?
Well, I can't imagine that V. Glenn has not said something already to come back at you all. That's the first thing.
I agree.
Is Vincey on the line?
Man, first of all,
There you
I'm
go.
over here in tears because I haven't heard R.J. McMillan's voice in 32 years, y'all.
Oh.
32 years. It's been a long time. Too long, man. And I love all my brothers, but R.J. McMillan, man, I want the world to know Vincey Glenn loves you and your family, man. And you heard it.
Likewise, my brother.
It's like a reunion. I love it.
Wait. Before we get into all of that, okay? Before we get into all that, let me just say this about Vincey Glenn. Vincey Glenn, I love your family. Anybody that's related to you, anybody that you played with, I don't care really that much about you. I had to, my co-host were the two who had to try to make me get you on the show because I was considering doing the show without you. But let me introduce you. Let me introduce you to my co-host, Hollis Lewis. He's a guy, a former player, quarterback at West Virginia State. He's in the political realm now. And Lisa Odie, we know her as the football queen. She knows all about football. She's the one who goes in and digs out all the information, and she did
beware.
She did say, Vincey, she couldn't find a lot of information on you, but that's another story.
Don't let that touch you, Vincey. Don't let that touch you, man. Don't let that touch you. Stay above that.
All right, let me.
Keep me in control, Matt. There you go, man. That's what I'm
Don't let that touch you. Let that roll off your back like a duck, man. Come on, man.
I did. Thanks,
Okay.
Matt. Thanks, Matt.
All right, so let's get the show started. Let's just try to see if we can stay on track. All right, so
Okay.
let me, if I have to be serious for a moment, this group of guys, to me, and I played with a lot of DBs in the league at the Vikings. Willie Teal is one of those guys that I really made a good bond with. Rufus and all those kind of guys, JT, all those kind of guys. This group here has a really unique kind of, I can say, love with them, from me to them to me maybe. Because it was like, I don't know if anybody really expected a whole lot from us. And I think us and the rest of the defense, I think, really came in and created something that was really, really special. Am I saying that, guys, or am I touch that? Because I know that, and you had a Pro Bowl career, and we had announced all that prior to you guys getting on. I know you had a Pro Bowl career, and tell me how you feel about the relationships. And I know this is one of the very few times we've got a chance to actually talk, but the bonds that we had when we were playing and the belief we had in each other was one of those kind of amazing things. Talk a little bit about that if you can.
Well, let me start with the fact that, you know what, our fearless leader, Carl Lee, and now, Vincey, hold your horses here now. Remember, you came from San Diego out there on the West Coast, and you know everything was sunny and blaring, and everything was great. But, you know, when you got there, Vincey, we was already locked in. You know, we was tired, but, you know, you helped us. I'm telling you, you came along and really, you helped us do what we needed to do. But, see, Lee, when I got there, you, Joey Brown, and everybody, man, I had come out of the Oilers for 5 years. 4 years I had played there. And one of my best years of playing football outside of high school has always been with you guys, because we were a family in the back. We had great coaches, guys who understood. I remember Coach Shaw telling us one time, you know, I said, Coach, what you want me to play, bump and run, or you want to play off on the goal line? He said, son, I don't care what you play, just make sure they don't score. I said, that's what I want to hear, Coach. Now, you know, see, you was bump and run.
Right.
You was bump and run, so we had to get up on them. And thank God we had two solid safeties behind us. You know, them old strong brothers. All we had to do is call the play and let us do the work up front, and they know they had us in the back. And not only did we enjoy time on the field together and success on the field, we just didn't have a quarterback that could get us to the promised land. But we had the defense. But at the end of the day, guys, that family that we built in the backfield there, I mean, even Joey Browner, even he was old.
Right.
He was really, really Joey. Now, we can't forget Joey. But now Joey was the one that he just was different than the four of us back there. But he was there with us. But the entire defense realized and recognized that the secondary was solid. And that's one thing I'm very, very proud of. And it's been 30 years since I've been back and talked to you guys with me here this afternoon.
And Mac, and one of the things we got to do is we got to make sure we get to the same. We got to come to a game this season so we can see each other.
Got to, guys.
All right, T. Scott.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about your bond in the relationship with the Vikings, with the group. Just kind of give us a quick spiel. I'm trying to get everybody to kind of give their quick spiel.
It's going to be different for me because when I came in as a rookie, all of you guys were veteran players. Y'all had all played at least 7 to 8, 10 years or more. So for me as a young player coming in and getting to see how you guys went about doing things and just understanding what it was to be a pro, you guys taught me everything I know about being a pro on and off the field. So with me, it probably had the greatest impact because I had the opportunity to watch you guys while I was in high school and college, then come in to play with you guys and actually be a teammate. That was really, really, really something for me. But the interesting thing was just you guys weren't just mentors for me. Y'all were truly big brothers and were concerned with me even more so off the field and the things I did, how I carried myself and what I did, even than just on the field. So a lot of those life lessons I've really taken with me. I know you were mentioning it early, just even with Audrey and I. Audrey, I've had the benefit of enjoying a 25-year real estate investing career that Audrey got me into over 25 years ago, and I'm still using that to generate generational wealth for my family. But I mean, just over that time and over the years, you guys have been confidants, advisors, big brothers, hilarious comedians, and just
That's great.
It's too much. It's too much to name, but because you guys were all more peers, and I was kind of like the little brother. I think my take on it is a lot different.
Okay, B. Glenn.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I mean?
My 3 years there, but especially my first 2 in Minnesota were my 2 favorite years. Playing in the secondary with guys and then playing on the defense. Because I had just come from New Orleans in '91, and we were the number 1 defense in the league down in New Orleans, and I signed as a free agent. And remember, Felix Wright was there.
Yeah,
Flex
yeah,
was there.
yeah.
Right. And Willie had us alternating because he really wanted me to start. Willie had us alternate like a quarter here and a quarter there. And the first game of the season, like the first quarter, I pick off Magic Man, Mikowski in Green Bay. And a couple games later, I ended up.
Hey, V. Just in case you wanted, the fact that you said that you may not have heard Lisa in the background saying what? She is a diehard Packer fan. Just so you
sorry,
know.
guys.
Man, you
I'm so sorry.
Come on.
You should see the cheese head I have on right now, guys. Come on now. Come on. Show me some love. Show me some love.
Man, I made a career off the Green Bay Packers. Career off the Packers.
See, Lisa, I may have said it too soon.
Lisa, you need to keep that a secret.
Yeah.
I'm not good at keeping secrets, guys. I'm just not good at it.
Go ahead, finish up, man.
But anyway, coming there and just bonding with you guys, and it was more about the communication level. You guys were all pros, but the way we communicated easily on and off the field. But more than anything, guys, we all bought in, man. And I'm gonna give kudos to Willie Shaw for putting us together. Yeah. I reckon us to the movie Ben-Hur when they had all the horses and they just quite wasn't working together. And then you get this one guy that brings it in and gets the horses running in the right order, and they go on to win the Gladiator Award and all that stuff. That's how I see us as that group of guys. We were all different in our own ways. We had our own styles. But when we got together, we were hell on wheels. You know what I'm saying? And that was the beauty of watching the maturation of that. And then when we hit our stride, they dismantled us, you know, and that was a big blow, I think, really to all of us at that particular point in time.
And guys, I've talked to Willie not that long ago, and I'm going to have him on the show at some point also, just so that he can talk about it. But, you know, when you start talking about a coach and you start talking about the unity of the group, the unique thing about, which I think people will be kind of crazy, will think that the way he coached, his thing was, if you had a way to do something, he wasn't going to change it. You do it, and if it works, it works. And now if it don't work, the issue for him was, you know, Lisa, was like, it's my job. I don't have, as long as it's working, you can do it. The moment it stops working, it's my job that we got to start dealing with. So
yeah, it's kind of like a not the opposite of a helicopter coach, right? Like he just kind of once if it works, go do it, guys.
Yeah.
I like it.
Either one of you guys, hold on. I'm gonna have my co-host jump in here.
How you doing, guys? It's great to have you guys on the show. What I'm interested in is that, again, we talk about on this show a lot as far as different eras, and being that you all are DBs and the things that you could do in the 80s and 90s. When you're looking at the game today, sort of what is your assessment of football and how it's played in this modern era?
It's 7-on-7.
That's putting it bluntly.
I'm watching 7-on-7, man. This ain't no. You can't touch the receivers, man. You hit them, it's penalty and fines. I mean, it'd be real tough for us to play now. It'd be really tough for us to play now. I mean, I know Carl and Audrey, they absolutely have to put their hands on you. They have to.
Hey, but see, Lee, can you imagine how good it would be for us right now? You didn't have to worry about tackling. You didn't have to worry about if you got beat, you was going to get cut. I can't believe what they let him get away with.
I agree.
You know, when you get beat, you couldn't go back and sit on that bench without folks looking too crazy. Right now, it's okay. Don't understand.
Let me say this real quick. So just look at this perception, guys. When we played in our era, every time we lined up on the football field against particular teams, we played against future Hall of Famers. Yeah. We didn't play against backup quarterbacks for 10, 12 years, however long you played. When you played Broncos, you played against Elway. When you played 49ers, you had Montana. You played against the same great quarterbacks every year. These guys don't even play 4 to 12 games hardly. Let's not on that. These are backups. We would succeed anyway because these quarterbacks are garbage, straight trash.
Shots fired.
I would be in the Hall of Fame in 5 years. They're trash.
So
you can't get past the first 6 guys in the NFL at quarterback and say, all right, name me the top 6 guys. After you get to number 5, you be talking about
right.
Let's see. You be doing that. You can't do that.
So, all right, so hold on for a second. So for anybody who's a listener of the show and has a favorite quarterback, let's be clear how my guys feel about that quarterback.
I think they made it more than clear.
Yes, sir.
Can I throw this in there?
Yes.
I just want to interject this small little tad bit. Hey, guys, y'all don't remember how y'all dogged me when Vincent, why did you even bring up Elway? The man ran over me on the goal line.
Oh, man.
Coverage, I would not even.
Dark times. Dark memories.
I would not even talk to me. I had him cornered on the 1 yard line. He's 240 pounds. And he run over me on the goal line and scored. Y'all wouldn't even talk to me on the bench.
That's not true.
Hey, well, let's make it clear. We're talking to you now. We forgive you now.
Hey, that's the longest walk of my career back to that bench and knowing
I do remember that.
No.
But again,
you made too many good plays, man, to remember that kind of stuff, man.
No. I'm gonna make the case that everybody is gonna remember the worst play more so than the best play.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I get that. Lisa, you got a question?
Oh, I just first of all, I want to know, guys, how do I get a cool nickname like Mac and V Glenn? And my name doesn't work for any of that. Like, how do I make Lisa Odie something cool like Sealy or I don't know. You guys will have to help think of something on that one. But
well, she's a football queen, so she's got one.
Yeah, I guess
That's pretty cool.
Queen works, I guess. All right, guys. So I'm just going to throw this question out to all three of you guys, and you can answer in any order. But we all remember the moment back in the playoffs when A.J. Brown, the Eagles wide receiver, they showed him on the sideline reading a copy of Inner Excellence, and he said that was a way that he kind of dealt with the pressures of a game. And so I was wondering, what are some things that you guys used to do on the sidelines to kind of relieve pressure when you were, waiting to get back out on the field?
Am I allowed to answer that before them?
Absolutely. Whoever wants to go. I want to hear these stories.
I want to. I'm going to make this because it might make it easy for them.
Okay.
The fact that I knew that Vincey and T. Scott and Mac were sitting beside me, that was pressure enough to know that you did not want to make a mistake.
Absolutely not.
Peer pressure. Peer pressure.
This was what I think is different now. You don't need to go anywhere. We coming straight to you. And ain't no fighting. Ain't nobody gonna throw no blows.
Right.
But you gotta accept whatever it is that they say to you.
Okay.
I mean,
so you guys kind of vented to each other. That's kind of what you did.
If you called it venting,
but we was good. We didn't have problems. We didn't make mistakes. That's why we were so good. That's why everybody needed because the communication level was there. It was important. Lisa, to Vince,
the key to it is like they said earlier with Coach Shaw. He taught us a sense of accountability.
Yep.
Okay.
If you gon' play cover two, you gonna get the receiver inside because I had to get him to Vincey. I had to get him to talk.
Core, man. Core. You remember I used to yell, Core, get him inside, man. I got him.
Now, Lisa, let me say this.
Okay.
It was great accountability.
Right.
But we were the number one secondary. We were the number one defense and the number one secondary 2 years in a row. So you're talking about a really good group of guys. One of the things to this day, and he's heard me say it a lot of times, Carl had this thing he would always say, if you dropped a pick or something, you don't want to be great, you're just happy being good.
Oh.
That drive me crazy.
I like that, though.
No, but we used to have to do push-ups if you dropped a pick in practice. We would make each other go run after practice, even though we didn't have to run after practice. Mac or Steely would say, "Man, let's go get some in," and we go do our own sprint on our own. That's how we work. We bond.
Now, and I want to make sure that if you're listening to this, and I know it can get jumbled up because everybody's talking at one time, I want you to understand what they're saying. They are saying player accountability. Yeah. They're talking about player accountability. Where I'd make the case today if Hollis, me and Hollis was on the same team and he yelled at me because I did something wrong, I'm yelling back at him and cussing at him and like we get ready to go to blows. There was never a thought of us ever thinking about being mad at each other. You had to be accountable for that.
Sure.
And the person that was going to keep you accountable was the group. Was us four,
your teammates,
those teammates, and I think that's something that Hollis ain't gonna tell me what to do. He don't even play my position. He play quarterback. How he gonna tell me what to do? That's how it is now.
Yeah,
and I think that's where a lot of the issues.
It's the breakdown.
That's the breakdown of what I think is great teamwork. Hollis, you got anything?
Yeah, I was just gonna to follow up with that. When you're talking about today's game, at the NFL level, also we've talked a lot about the collegiate level and what's going on with NIL. So from a former player perspective, what are you guys' thoughts on NIL and collegiate athletics?
I think the NIL is going to.
Go ahead, Vincent.
I think NIL is really ruining college athletics because there's no loyalty. You won't have guys who'll spend 2 or 3 years at a university. They're basically free agents, as you would see it in pro football. So you don't have a chance to build the camaraderie. You don't have the chance to build the continuity because the dollars can make you switch schools every year.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have time to be a kid. When you're paying a kid 16, 17 years old, $5, $6 million, you know all the vultures and the people around them and the realities of life. So I come to college and I'm making $5 million, $6 million. Then they talking about going to pros and they want me as a free agent. Man, I'm taking a pay cut to the pros. That's crazy. It don't even sound right. You know what I'm saying? But then there's the dark side of the NIL is that how many kids in the portal system, how many kids get caught up in the portal system. And because they don't have paperwork to get into other schools. There are a lot of schools that still require you to have some paperwork. You ain't just going to play sports and we going to pay you. And that's why schools are saying, okay, the school's going to pay us. And now we live back. And if you ain't raised, man, we can get top guys. I can pay them, but you got to have a base.
Hey, Matt. Hey, Matt.
Transferring every year, that kills a program. And you can't keep a coach.
Hey, Matt, let me ask you this question, okay? Here in West Virginia, they're considering to make NIL for high school.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay? So please, if as a former player, as a businessman, give me your advice or give the folks out there who's thinking about doing that, give them some kind of advice. What would you tell them?
The only thing I can tell you right now, I was just at home up in East Texas for Mother's Day. My 81-year-old mom is still living, and I have a nephew that's already transferring back to a high school. It's ruined. Money has ruined everything in this country. And at the end of the day, will destroy all of us. And at the end of the day, there's no more loyalty, there's no more commitment, there's no more camaraderie, there's no more faithfulness. At the end of the day, when you start teaching that lesson to kids, it ends up with nothing but disaster. There's no faithfulness to nobody, no commitment to nobody. It's just a bad situation. I've heard stories from people with this NIL, guys. Parents are leaving their hometowns going with their kids. That's too much of a burden to put. Vincent said, kids need to be kids, and we need to, like Willie Shaw. I had a dad, but Willie Shaw was like a father to me. Y'all remember a game we lost one time? We was all sitting out there on the sideline, and he told us, guys, and I tell this story all the time. He said, you can't be too high, you can't get too low. You got to have a little balance. And that's how I try to live my life. You can't get way up, and you can't get way down. Somewhere.
Amen.
Consistency. And when you sign that contract as a freshman, you don't have any idea.
None.
On the face. And school was always a problem with it. Now it's even got worse. You don't even have to go to school anymore. So what are we doing? We back to the plantation thinking, and we're back to just subservience, working, and we're never, ever thinking about the holistic approach to the child and the student and your kid.
Reach.
It does not look at the fact that my kid needs to be with somebody that cares about my kid like I do. I'm going to bypass this money and focus on the development of my child. And that's one thing media and everything else is doing to us. It's killing our kids and our generation of people. We will, like Vincent said, we won't allow our kids to grow up and be mature. And eventually, it's going to catch up with us as a nation. It's sad.
Wow.
I hear you. Holler if you got anything.
Let me add this. Let me add this, Celie.
Okay.
One of the aspects they're not looking at is the lack of financial literacy either. With the 17, 18-year-old, and most of these kids are coming from family where they didn't have a lot. So no one in that family has the financial literacy. So they may get, if you're paying a kid $500,000 or whatever, who really understands the tax implications of that? I have a lot of friends who are agents and just people who represent other kids. And they say that's one of the major problems that's rarely ever talked about. A lot of these kids have a tax bill that they can't pay because they spent the money.
Wow. They have no idea how it works. No idea.
Well, first of all, the parents are not even in that tax bracket.
No.
Right. So they don't know what to do.
You know what I'm saying? When they sit there scrounging to make $100,000 between both households, even if that, and all of a sudden you got your kid making all this money, so all you thinking about is your easiness in life. They ain't really thinking about that kid. You're like, man, this kid, man, I birthed him through. I done had to pay the cooking food and all this time, man. Let me go and get my better. And then you got the cousins and your uncles and all, and being pulled from directions. So it's tough on kids out there. It's hard being a kid. And then with social media.
Social media is that's another thing in itself that's really hard for kids to deal with.
You know, to Vincey's point, being a younger player when I came in, I had called Mac and Vincey that I could talk to about, man, what do I do from a tax situation? How should I manage my money? They did a lot of educating and training me on what the NFL stands for not for long and how to save my money, how to invest my money. Had I not had them at 22 years old, I'm from Galveston, Texas. My parents was a high school guidance counselor and a middle school principal. We didn't come from money, but their tutelage and their education helped me be able to prepare and sustain myself long term. I remember just my first introduction to a 401k when they had the 401k meeting. I remember Carl just saying, "Hey, listen, come in here with us and just do what I tell you to do." I was like, okay.
That sounds like Carl.
I had enough confidence. But listen, I had enough confidence and enough trust and faith in his advice and Audrey and Vincey, and that's from 1992 to now. Man, that's worked out very, very well for me. But I had someone that I could turn to that could give me instruction, guidance, and some leadership.
Lisa's got a question.
Yeah, I've got some individual questions for you guys, if that's okay. I'll start with Mac. So, Mac, you actually went to school at the University of Houston, correct? And you...
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me. No, I graduated in 3.5 years. See, I like to go past went.
I didn't ask you anything about that.
Okay, you guys are too much. So let me get to my point. Sorry. So you were in high school. You were a highly recruited quarterback, and so you were, from what I read, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you were the first African American freshman to start as a quarterback at the University of Houston. Is that correct?
That's not correct. That's incorrect. There were other quarterbacks before me. I was the first quarterback to start as a freshman.
Okay. Sorry, I left that detail out. I've got it written here. Sorry. So you were the first to start as a freshman. Yes. So tell me a little more about what that was like for you.
Oh, it was the same thing. I thank God for my parents and my grandparents and my 90-year-old grandmother who taught me most everything I know. I lived my entire life. I've gone from here all over the world, but I've always carried her tutelage with me. There's a woman that had a third-grade education, but she at least never was broke. I've never seen her want for nothing, and she was always a stability in our life and our family's life. So when I got out, I've always accepted the challenge of when they say you can't, that you say you can. And we've always had things to prove. The only reason I played quarterback was they told me that I couldn't, that we weren't smart enough to play. Matter of fact, the only reason I went to the University of Houston is because back when I came out, there were no black quarterbacks. And y'all just don't know how hard it is to see all these black quarterbacks now making all this money. Back in my day, you couldn't play quarterback. There were certain positions that they held for certain people, and you couldn't play quarterback because you couldn't think. You couldn't play safety because that was a thinking position. So as a freshman, they moved me to running back, and my mother and father fought for me to play. So that's why I went to the University. So I was recruited all over Texas, all over California, all over the United States, but I went to U of H because they allowed blacks to play quarterback, and that's when I got in and played the beer.
Now, this was pre Andre Ware, so at that time when you came out, did y'all run like the wide open run and shoot at that time? Because that was pretty innovative during that time. Y'all ran the veer?
The Houston Veer.
Okay, got you.
Houston Veer.
And part of that, and let me ask this question, because I'm going to make the case. Again, when you start talking about black quarterback and you start talking about the veer, those types of things, that's an additional running back, which you're not, there's still not, to me, I feel like there's still not enough trust yet for you to be able to throw the ball 15, 20 times in a game, because they consider you as an asset as running the ball. Am I correct on that?
Absolutely not, because at the end of the day, that's that mentality, that old myth. Because at the end of the day, we all play Sandlot football. Because, you know, when you out there with your fellas on Sunday afternoon playing, I'm Bob Hayes, I'm Roger Staubach, you can still throw the ball, you're going to make the move. What do you think Hurst does right now, the quarterback's doing now? They're able to throw the ball on the run. Ain't no way back when we came out they would even allow you to run around and throw the ball. And that's all the quarterbacks are doing right now. And if you can't run around and throw the ball, then you can't play quarterback. That's how passes are struggling right now. You cannot expect everything has gotten better on defense. Everybody gotten faster and quicker, and they have not increased the field. They have not elongated the field. Everything is the same. So the only thing is changing is the personnel. And the personnel has changed, so you don't have a Roger Staubach no more. You need a Jalen Hurst. And Jalen Hurst, but they wasn't recruiting Jalen Hurst then.
Right.
I had to adapt to doing something that would keep me playing a game that I love.
I hear you.
Fair enough.
I hear you.
All right. So I have another question for Vincey. So, hey, Vincey, this is for you. So you were quite the menace when you played at Indiana State University. Some of your accolades I looked up today. You're a two-time all-conference safety. You were 1985 Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year. And you still hold the ISU record for career interceptions at 17. Is that correct?
Yes, and like Max say, I did that in 2.5 years.
I knew it. You guys are so you're extremely talented bunch of guys. I'm telling you.
Once I got on, it was over.
So Vincey, my question is, I know Carl alluded to this earlier. You were selected by the Patriots in the second round, right, of the 1986 NFL Draft. So walk us through that. What was that like for you?
I was just happy to be drafted. These guys know back then, man. You just have to. They want you even consider the kind of training camp, because we had training camp back then. It was 120 people could come to training camp. It was open to the world. Plus, you had your 12 rounds in the draft. So being drafted in the second round and coming from a small school, 1AA school, and then the Patriots had just come off the Super Bowl against the Bears. I'm like, man, I'm going to go into a good team. But they taught me so much. Andre Tippett, Fred Marion, Blackman, Tippett, all the Ray Claiborne. They taught me so much, as Todd alluded to, as a rookie. And my locker was next to Stanley Morgan. They gave me all his pony tennis turf shoes because he wore the same size as me, and he hooked me up. But they told me when I got there, they said, hey, man, if you want to stay in this league a long time, keep your eyes open, your mouth shut, and your bags packed. They said it's a great business, but it's a terrible business. They said it's a terrible business. And just how I got to the league and all that, I was strictly about football. you know what I'm saying? I had my fun, but I wanted to succeed. And then I got traded right after the fourth game, my rookie year, to San Diego, and I come out here. And I don't know anybody, and it's like starting all over back then because everybody's in the training camp. But now here on the team, and they telling me they won't play soon. I'm loving that part, but man, I'm trying to learn the defense again. Right. That was different because if you messed up back then, you ain't get too many do-overs.
Right.
You was gone. They cut people after games at halftime on planes back then. They didn't care. I'm being honest. These guys know. Oh, it was real. It was real, and we wasn't making no money, to be honest.
Right.
So that whole experience to get drafted and that kind of stuff. And so these guys probably don't know this, but the game I started in San Diego, 5 games after I got here, I broke my jaw.
Oh, wow.
The first game I started at third play of the game, my own teammate fall on the back of my head, smash my face, and I break my jaw. I go get wired up at halftime. I come back. I watch the rest of the game. That was on Sunday. That Thursday night, I started on ESPN Thursday Night Football against the Raiders with a broken jaw. They made me a special face mask and everything because I didn't want to come off the field. So I played the next 8 games with my mouth wide shut, broke jaw. You couldn't do that these days. That's how bad I wanted it. That's how bad I didn't want to come off that field because once you come off, it ain't no guarantees you're going to ever come back on. But you have to be so lucky and have a long career or even be out there a few years just because of the injury aspect of it. So it was great, and it was very fulfilling.
To that point, T. Scott, did you play any games that you had something that was a somewhat considered a major injury, but you still played?
Oh yeah, yeah. When you were gone that last year when Vince and I were there with AP and them, I played in Green Bay with 3 broken ribs and all the left side of my cartilage torn in December.
Okay, Mac. Mac, did you play with what? Tell me the serious injury that you probably played with.
Hey, Carl, that's very sensitive to me because that's what ended my career. They knew the knee. I left Houston on Plan B free agency with a torn ACL that they never replaced. And they didn't replace it based on the fact that the strength in the quad and the hamstring and the calves, they didn't feel like they needed major surgery. So I get hurt. That was in '92, and it was in Tampa Bay. We jamming, and I hit it. I hold the guy up. I hear my knee click. They knew it in Minnesota. The last 7 or 8 games after Tampa, they knew I had torn my meniscus. They said, don't worry about it. We'll clean it up at the end of the year. This is 1993. And, guys, this is exactly what happened to me. When they took my meniscus out at the end of the year in 93, I came back thinking I'm getting ready to go to work and going to get back. It was just like it was elastic. My knee was moving back and forward. And the Vikings never told me that if I take this meniscus out, it would end my career. Because I had played that whole year without a meniscus and without an ACL. But I played the whole year with no meniscus.
Now,
I remember that.
I'm gonna make the case that, Zambi. I'm gonna leave it. I'll leave the name right there. He knew that. He had to have known that as the trainer, right? Like. It should have been. Right. That should have been. And again, one of the things publicly, if I can dare say this, when you go to the trainer, back in those days, his job wasn't necessarily to get you well, but to get you back on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's a whole different thing.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing.
Mm-hmm.
I played with pins. I played with pins in my wrist. And they say to me that as long as you don't try to catch yourself, if you fall and you try to catch yourself, you're going to break your forearm.
Wow.
Okay? Now,
in other words, you'll be all right.
Yeah. And when you say that to me that way, I'm like, oh, okay. Like I can control.
Like, how do you play football without?
Like I'm trying to figure out, like, how am I supposed to control that opportunity or situation that I'm not going to catch myself if I'm falling. But
I remember that.
That situation. I mean, when you start talking about playing hurt, I bet you during that time that was just a standard. That was and let's remember, I got my job because John Swain didn't want to take a shot.
Yeah,
and he had an ankle. You guys probably weren't there at that point, but it was my first opportunity to play. Third season, Swain was hurt his ankle, and so when it's time for him to come back, he's like, Zambi saying like, hey, we can shoot it up, you can go.
Oh wow!
And he was like, nah, I'm good. And then I go in. And it's playing against Detroit. I get the game-winning interception, and then the rest is history. And he was gone. So
that's how it worked.
And do you think I was going to ever have an injury keep me out of the game? Absolutely not, because I could see. I saw what happened, and again, I don't know where that is now, because I think the players somewhat make that decision. Whether or not they play.
It's probably too much money on
It's too much money.
Go right for a game and say, hey, coach. I ain't feeling today, man. I ain't playing. And they ain't going to play. Coach might be mad at you.
Now,
but, bro, you can't make them dudes play no more, bro. That's why they don't play that much, but 12 games a year.
What head coach? What head coach are we?
Hey, Lee.
Yeah.
See, y'all remember the time I got that grade 3 hematoma, and that big old lump came on. Because, we didn't wear hip pads.
Right.
thought we were cute. Yeah, you know, because it was so limited. And I got that hip hematoma, and at halftime, I go in there, and it's swollen up, man. It's a big old knot like a basketball on the side of my hip. You know what? Let's get the needle and let's draw this on out.
And get you back on the field.
It ain't nothing. I got another one. I tore my bicep against New York.
I remember that.
All they did was and you can't hurt it no more. Wrap it up and let's go. I said, okay.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, and I don't think the actual, like, Hollis, I don't think, like, the public really knows, like, these types of stories. When you're looking at a game, you have no idea of what the player is dealing with, and not just physically, but if it's physical, that's got to be a mental piece to it, too, because, like, man, you kind of afraid to fall. I'm thinking, I can't fall. I can't catch myself, or, you know. So, what, I mean.
Hey, Carl.
Yes.
I don't want to interrupt y'all, but I just texted Willie Shaw a few minutes ago. I said, love you, Coach. Just thinking about it. He texts me back, and he goes, and I'm going to read to y'all, even though it's personal, I'm going to read to y'all what he texted me. Well, Vincent Glenn, I was talking about you the other day. I was playing golf with Toy Cook on Thursday, and he asked me about some of the best DBs back in the day. I told him you were one of my best I ever coached. Anyway, once I got you to line up at 14 yards, not 10, you were all right. Good to hear from you. Hope all is well with you. Just know that you're always in my thoughts and my heart. I love you, man.
What I get out of that is uncoachable. That's what he's saying. You uncoachable. Hollis, you got anything?
Hey, Miss Lee, this is what he told me when I first, because in San Diego, we play a lot of man, so I would line up at 10, but I had range and I could get up where I need to get. But when I got to Minnesota, Willie Shaw, one day he kept telling me, back up, man, back up.
Put some money in the bank.
Yeah, put money in the bank.
Man, he called me to the back because he always stood behind the DBs at practice. We would train camp Mankato.
Well,
I just got there. He called me to the back. He said, hey, 2-5, come here. I went back there. He said, man, I've been doing this a long time, man. More players make coaches than coaches make players. Man, put some money in the bank, man. This ain't San Diego, man. Last time, 8 yards, man, you get 2 steps, 4, 9, 8 yards, you might well play linebacker. And I got back and I'd be lining up at 15 deep. Ed Reed used to line up at 20. But I started it because I'd be lining up at 15. I'm coming downhill. And he's just the funniest thing in the world.
Hollis has got a question.
So I know we're about to close out, but just if you could just kind of go around the horn, just what are you guys up to nowadays, and how can the people get in contact with you and see what you got going on?
Well, I don't do social media, but I do Vikings pregame show Saturdays before the Vikings game. For the past few years on the Fan out of Duluth.
Nice.
Duluth. So I do that. Other than that, man, if you got my number, hit me up. If you don't, call somebody that know me and get a message.
I like that.
But I'm accessible like everybody in the world. I'm accessible. I got a phone. If you got a phone, you're accessible.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Yeah, everybody, but
T. Scott?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I own a real estate investment company here in Houston and Galveston. Probably 140 units. Still married after 30 years and just enjoying my life. People can reach me at greatscottenterprises.biz.
Nice.
There you go.
Okay.
Matt?
I'm like that. I don't do, we quiet. We from old school. We don't do much. We don't social media at all. But at the end of the day, I'm still, I've been married 40 years. I got 2 kids. I lost one 2 years ago. But at the end of the day, all I ask, I've fulfilled every dream and aspiration I possibly can. All I want to do is be a vessel for others to use the mentality or the knowledge that I've occurred over the last 62 years, about to be 63. At the end of the day, I want to be a mentor to others. One of the biggest disappointments I've had is that I hadn't been able to share this knowledge about that bump and run technique called because you know me and you, we
Hey.
I'm still fighting with Jason Phillips and the Colorado Bulldogs because he coached out there with Dion and them about how to play bump and run. Man, I'll tell you, I had all them coaches. Willie Shaw, I had Saban. Then we had, what's his name, coach for Denver. I had all the best coaches in the world. And I'm going to tell y'all something. They all talk the same. Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
Nick Saban.
Yeah.
Rick Shaw. Then we had Houston Oilers coach, Kenny Houston. Everybody taught me the same thing about how to play DB. And I'm so grateful, and I thank God for the opportunity to be able to come to Houston. Come play in Houston and then come to Minnesota and play with such fine guys, because when Pete Carroll asked me to come on Plan B free agency, he had a purpose, and he gave me a shot. Glanville was never going to give me a shot other than special teams, and I thank God for that shot. But one thing I miss doing, Carl, is not being able to pass that on. And to take this to my grave, that bump and run technique, it saddens me, because a lot of these kids don't know how to play DB. They put them in bad situations and they get hurt and they blame the player, but it ain't the player, it's the coach. And you and I both know that. You can line up wrong, Vincent, and get beat. So those are the things that bother me when you watch the game. That's why I don't even watch it anymore.
I'm with you, man. Lisa has one more question, and Mac, I'm going to talk to you about that. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about that personally.
It's more of like a description. I just wanted you guys in one word to describe something about Carl Lee that you admired when you played with him on the Vikings roster. One word.
So we got a lot.
But I'm limiting you to one word, guys. I know this is really hard. I know this is hard for you guys.
Lisa, I'll go first.
Okay.
This is Todd. I'll say complete. And when I say complete, he's heard me say this before. I've known a lot of corners who can play press man or man-to-man coverage well, and a lot of guys who can play zone well. There were very few guys that was excellent and could do it as seamlessly as C. Lee did it on both ends of the spectrum. So in my view, and I've said this publicly many times on a lot of different platforms, he's one of the most complete defensive backs that I've ever seen. Also, my other word would be best dressed.
We'll make it a compound word. I like it.
Thank you, T. Scott.
Don't you think that's a little much, Vincent?
Yeah, that was way too much, man. Yeah, bro. That's and all that.
Can you move on? We running out of time.
Yeah, let's hear the rest. One word.
Leadership. See, Lee, I appreciate it, man, because when I got there, everybody knew who was in charge. Everybody knew who ran things. And you know, where you come on the plane and tell everybody, hey, look how bad he looked. I mean, come on, man. You kept it together in the secretary. You led us to the point, and we knew who was our leader, and that made all the difference in the world for me.
Nice.
When I got there.
Thank you, man.
Who's left? Who hasn't?
Vincey,
come on. We've got complete. We've got leadership. One word.
Here's the one word that describes C. Lee. Me with him. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect.
Get more than that. Make that whatever you want to be.
I love it.
Hey, guys, we're going to get out of here, man. I appreciate you guys being on, and we've got to set a time so we can all get up in Minnesota at the same time.
Sounds good.
Sure.
Thank you, guys.
All right, man. Good
to talk to you guys.
Take care.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get out of here. Hope you enjoyed the show.
Let's Talk with Carl Lee is presented by attorney Frank Walker and the all-new historic Coyer Diner. Come in on episodes, ask the crew questions, or suggest topics on our Facebook page. Search for Let's Talk with Carl Lee, and remember to like the page to become part of the conversation. Subscribe by searching Let's Talk with Carl Lee on your favorite podcast service, and tune in Thursday evenings at 7 or Sunday nights at 8 for Let's Talk with Carl Lee.
If you fall, dust it off and get back up on your feet. Anything could be a win, yup, even defeat. They say sugar bad for you, why is victory sweet? Couldn't play with big kids, I had to sit in the street and watch from a distance, but over time I grew. If I put in the work, in no time I'm due. Everything that I worked and prayed, I'm okay. If you ask me, how did I do it, I'm gon' say, you gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work. 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 You gotta work.